I've always been fascinated by sharks. I mean, jellyfishes are a close second, but do they have a whole week dedicated to them? Or is the leading star in a Steven Spielberg hit movie? I don't think so. But it's just not sharks who's in the limelight. A blast from the past like the Megalodon has been the star in his own blockbuster hit. And till this day, the Loch Ness Monster is making an annual income of over $1 million for their hometown. So what is up? What's the deal? How did these so-called mystical creatures came to be? And why are they so prominent now than they were millions of years ago? This is episode 4, Loch Ness Monster, Megalodon, and mystical sea creatures. Here's a fun tidbit. A cryptozoologist or cryptozoology is the study of animals of other organisms whose existence has not been proved. And cryptids are animals or other organisms, usually mythic, whose existence have not been proved. Also, should be noted, cryptozoology is not a science. Okay? Got it? Cool. Up first for our creature feature is the Loch Ness Monster, or Nessie for short. In Scottish folklore, large animals have been associated with many bodies of water, from small streams to the largest lakes, often labeled Loch na Betsy. These water horses, or water keppies, I hope I pronounced that correctly, are said to have magical powers and malevolent intentions. Their presence can be dated back to ancient times, from Piat's depictions of a mysterious beast with flippers on stone carvings. The first written sighting was by an Irish monk named Saint Columba. I promise you guys, I'm gonna try not to ruin these names. And it was reported by Audemon in Life of Saint Columba, written in the 7th century AD. According to Ottoman, it was August 22nd, 564. It said that a man, a swimmer, was bitten by the monster. And as the monster widened its jaw, preparing to attack the second swimmer, when St. Columba, who at the time him and his men were burying a man near the shore, heard the commotion and ran up or swam up. Okay, they pull up to the monster, and Saint Columba made the sign of the cross and said, quote, "Go no further. Do not touch the man. Go back at once." End quote. They said the creature had stopped as if it had been, quote, pulled back with ropes, end quote. And the sea monster obeyed and fled the scene. Wow, that's truly some power. But you know what? I can't even hate because if I'm recanting a story that's almost biblical to something that can be potentially be in the history books, like the Bible or something, it's going to be told for years and years to come. People are going to read about me. I'm going to hype myself up too. I'm going to give myself superpowers. Like, who's going to know? Okay. So good for you, St. Columba. You're in the history. Now, fast forward several thousands of years to the 1900s, where we get another sighting. It's April 1933. A couple's driving along the lake. They're just driving, do 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 do, and the woman looks over at the lake and sees something out in the distance. She tugs on the sleeve of her husband, boyfriend, whatever. Like, what is that? She's pointing to it. He turns and sees, squinting his eyes to get a better look, to spot a head with a long ass neck sticking out the water. Now the couple will go on to report the incident to the Erevenice Courier, sorry, and comparing it to a quote dragon or a prehistoric monster, end quote. But this is just one of the many sightings that will be reported. Now, this caused a sighting frenzy. Men were venturing out in boats, others were setting up chairs along the lake line in hope of spotting the creature. But, you know, but to the men who were waiting in the boats, out in the water, the lake, what was the game plan? Like what happened if the Loch Ness monster did pop up? Were they gonna catch it, or like take like an up close picture of it? Because I figure you can do that in the safety of the shore. And if they were going to capture it, I'm pretty sure none of them were like equipped to wrangle in a monster, let alone like to hold the monster in a cage. So yeah, that was But it doesn't matter. Whatever. Everyone was excited, and that's what matters. Okay. On December 1933, actor, film director, and big game hunter Marmaduke Witherell was hired by the Daily Mail to locate Nessie. He's telling everyone he got this, right? He's like, I'm a big game hunter. Daily Mail paid me. I'm going to get your monster. I'm going to bring it back, and y'all going to love me. Okay. So he's asking the locals, what times does this creature usually make itself known? This, that, and the other. Okay. So he's like scouting out the area. Then one day, as Mama Duke is poking around the lake shore, he discovered footprints that he believed belonged to, quote, a very powerful soft footed animal about 20 feet, 6 meters long, end quote. But zoologists at the Natural History Museum identified the tracks were made by an umbrella stand or ashtray that had a hippopotamus leg as a base. People still don't have a definite answer if Marmaduke did this himself to keep up his prominence as a big game hunter, or if the Daily Mail created the footprints themselves to push the story. So, you know, womp womp womp. 1934, an English genealogist, mhm, Robert Kenneth Wilson, photographed the alleged creature. He handed the photo over to the Daily Mail, but refused to have his name attached to it. He's like, I don't got time for people bothering me and questioning about this damn thing, so here you go. Good call, but you know, in the end, we still know your name, Robert Kenneth Wilson. So I guess at the time, you know, no one knew, but now we know. And on April 21st, 1934, the Daily Mail will publish a photo naming it what we all know as today the iconic, quote, surgeon's photograph. The reason the photo is being so iconic that it was supposedly the first time that we got to see the head and neck of the famous Loch Ness Monster. Now, this photo would become an international sensation with different theories of what the monster could possibly be. A big one was that the Loch Ness was a palisaurus, a marine reptile that went extinct over 60 million years ago. Others thought it was the water monster from the Scottish folklores. The mystery that surrounded this mythical sea creature had attracted monster hunters. So between 1987 and 2003, there were several explorations to locate the creature. Photos will come out allegedly showing proof of the Loch Ness Monster. However, they would be discredited as being fake or be photos of other animals, concluding that these explorations were not successful. It should be noted in 1994, it was revealed that the iconic surgeon's photograph was nothing but a hoax that was brought on by revenge seeker Marmaduke Witherell. You know, the guy from earlier, the big game hunter who discovered the footprints, but those were fake. Yeah, that guy. The fake. That was brought on by revenge seeker Marmaduke Witherell. The guy from earlier, the big game hunter, that guy. That the monster was nothing more than a plastic and wooden head attached to a toy submarine. Ooh. In 2018, researchers conducted a DNA survey of the Loch Ness Monster to determine what organisms. In 2018, researchers conducted a DNA survey of Loch Ness to determine what organisms lived in the waters. There were no signs of a plesiosaur or other large sea animals' DNA found, but there were a significant amount of a particular species DNA that was found, and it was that of eels. leading researchers to believe that the Loch Ness Monster just could have been an oversized eel. Whatever new information comes out has not stopped the tourist attraction who's hoping to see the sea creatures themselves. Whatever new information comes out has not stopped the tourist attraction who's hoping to see the creature themselves. According to BBC, in 2012, it was reported that the urban area of Inverness in the Highlands of Scotland has generated an annual revenue of over $40 million of goods and services that comes from the urban legend that is the Loch Ness Monster. Either way, they're still banking, so real or fake, they're making money, all right? And that is real. For our second creature feature, well, for our second creature in our creature feature, there's a video of a man being rescued at sea by the Brazilian Coast Guards. And the way the camera is angled is pointing down, facing the man, as if we're looking over and out of the helicopter. Okay. So we, as the audience, is watching the man being harnessed and eventually being lifted up and into the helicopter. So he's being lifted up. And first of all, those waves were raving and the wind was swaying that man back and forth. So we're already on edge. Like, I hope he doesn't fall back into the water or the current catches him to pull him back in, you know? But come to find out, that's the least of his worries, of our worries, because in this ocean drop background, a dark shadow passes right above the boat where the man was just in. Ooh! I must have watched that clip like 5 times because it's a short clip, but I tell you, it left me very impressionable. I can't tell you what that was, but the internet convinced me it was a megalodon, and I went down a rabbit hole researching these prehistoric sea creatures and the possibility of them still existing. But I'm here to tell you that these creatures are long gone. It is said that a very small portion of the Zurich study's data, 6 out of 10,000 simulations, showed a 1% chance that the megalodon is still alive. So, so that's a downer, but So, instead, I'm going to share some facts about these once dominant sea predators. Okay, so megalodon simply means large tooth, and they have plenty. 280 of them, with each tooth reaching to be 18 meters or 7 inches in length. Megalodon's teeth have been found on every continent except Antarctica, because during this time, much of the planet was covered in warm, shallow sea. Knowing this tells us where these creatures lived and haunted. By the end of the Paleocene era, and correct me for that, the planet had entered a global cooling phase. This caused mammals to either migrate. This caused mammals to either migrate to warmer areas or adapt to their new environment. But the mammals that migrated were part of the megalodons. But the mammals that migrated were part of the megalodon's diet. That's a lot of mammals migrated megalodons. And because they couldn't adapt to the cooler climates either, it was concluded that the megalodons either starved or was frozen to extinction. According to the Encyclopedia Britannica, before the connection between fossilized megalodon teeth and modern shark's teeth were made, people thought they were finding or discovering tongues of dragons. So that's very interesting. And a report from the Smithsonian Magazine said during the 17th century, it was believed that the megalodon's fossils had medicinal properties that would be collected for good luck. So yeah, that's a quick some cool facts about the megalodons. And you know people are still, I mean, researchers are still, facts are still coming out, so that's pretty cool. But if you want to check out the video and see this possible megalodon spotting for yourself, I'll leave a link in the description. And last but not least in our creature feature is the laka lacus. And please correct me if I'm wrong, like please correct me. Lacus. From the Caribbean folklore, this half shark, half octopus, head of a shark with tentacles, can reach up to 200 feet. Now, this is the most common depiction of the creature. There's been sightings of being there have been sightings of it being a multi-headed monster or a dragon-like creature. In the Bahamas, there is an island called Andros, or what its known name, Tongue of the Ocean, where there have been sightings dating back to decades ago up to present day. The island is home to close to 200 blue holes and 50 oceanic blue holes, making this the perfect habitat for the lacas. Lacas. It's spelled Cusca. So you guys, like I said, please correct me if correct me. So as these blue holes are said to be the connecting points to numerous ocean caves, walls, and passageways. Witnesses reported seeing entire ships being pulled into these blue holes, claiming it's the creature using their tentacles to drag their prey down into the darkness, only for the remains of the wrecked ship to resurface shortly after. A signature move before the sea creature or the sea monster attacks is that bubbles will appear on the surface of the water. And don't be fooled by the tighter currents, for that is the lacus breathing in and out. In 1896, in St. Augustine, Florida, it was reported that the monster's corpse had washed up on land. But was it really the legendary monster that the beachgoers were seeing, or something else? Just like every folklore, there's another side or a logical side. Skeptics are saying that the lacus or lacus is nothing more than a giant octopus or octopuses. That tells of entire ships sinking were just a natural phenomenon caused by swift tidal changes that created powerful whirlpool effects within the blue holes. Seeing bubbles before an attack or the breathing of the creature is nothing more than just extremely treacherous waters that fishermen and inhabitants were experiencing. Now for that body that beachgoers claim was the monster. After gathering the decomposing tissue samples, scientists linked the DNA back to that of a sperm whale. But who really knows what lies within those deep, dark blue holes? Here's my takeaway from these stories. I can see why people believe the possibility of these creatures still existing. I mean, hello, that Megalodon clip had me in a chokehold. No matter how much research pointed to the Megalodon no longer existing, I still had my doubts. I was like, no, how would they know? How do these marine biologists and experts with years of research know anything? There's 90%, there's 97 of the ocean that has not been searched or explored. They could be living there and feeding on whales. How would they know? Just going on. Just discrediting everything that I'm learning about. But don't be like me. Don't have tunnel vision. Yes, ask questions, but also have an open mind. Do I personally believe the Loch Ness Monster existed? Yes. Do I think it was some type of prehistoric dinosaur? Leaning on yes. But who really knows? Look, the Earth is over 1 million years old. Who knows what creatures walked before us? And with technology constantly advancing, maybe we can explore more of the blue holes of the Lacus or travel to the ocean's deep. Or maybe just leave it be and keep the mystery of the ocean just that, a mystery. If you enjoyed this episode and want to continue to wander with me, then please leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe to the show. This has been Mind Over Wonder, Episode 4, Loch Ness Monster, Megalodon, and Mystical Sea Creatures. Till next time, bye.